Good morning. Welcome to the Thursday edition of your program on television Inside Nigeria. Inside Nigeria is a program where it's a breakfast show where we review and discuss some front headline stories on some select newspapers in the country. My name is Winifred Ugbebo, your anchor as usual on the program. And today, as usual, we have so many papers on our menu for review, starting with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, The Guardian, Vanguard, The Punch, THISDAY, and Daily Sun. We like to flag off with Nigeria's most influential leadership. Leadership's headline story says presidential appeals, suspense as Supreme Court delivers judgment today. Presidential appeals, suspense as Supreme Court delivers judgment today. Tinubu, Atiku, Obi supporters upbeat. Police beef up security in Abuja. I'll take that leading story once again. Presidential appeals, suspense as Supreme Court delivers judgment today. Tinubu, Atiku, Obi supporters upbeat. Police beef up security in Abuja. And of course, I like to say that that is a leading story in most of these papers on our menu today. Record ambassador's tenure not extended. Minister DSS releases former EFCC chairman Bawa. Gaza war. Israel prepares for grand invasion. President presents 26.1 trillion naira 2024 budget in November. INEC allays fears over governorship polls, gets 10 new recs. IPs, federal government to delist unverified workers from payroll tomorrow. That is a business column on the cover of Leadership. IPs, federal government to delist unverified workers from payroll tomorrow. And above the masthead, we have Northern Governors orders mourn former SGF Adamu Fika. Northern Governors orders mourn former SGF Adamu Fika. Beware of ambitious politicians, wicked test religious leaders. From this last headline story, we move over to the page 3 of our paper, Our Stand. Our Stand is the editorial of the paper. It is the Stand. And it says Naira in a free fall. Naira in a free fall. As at yesterday, it was reported that Naira is 1,235 Naira to a dollar. That is in the parallel market. From that, we move over to the back page of the paper, Being Blunt with Moazu Eliza. Moazu Eliza is the group managing director of Leadership Media Group. And today's column, he's writing on CBN reinstates the forest restriction. CBN reinstates the forest restriction. Of course, CBN has lifted the hammer on 43 items for import. For more on this continuation of headline stories and inside stories, log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, this day is next on our menu. This day says Tinubu, Atiku, Obi face judgment today. Tinubu, Atiku, Obi face judgment today. We are confident judiciary won't fail Nigerians. PDP, Labour Party declare. We are confident judiciary won't fail Nigerians. PDP, Labour Party declare. Court dismisses ExxonMobil suit against NMDPRA. The story continues on page 6 of This Day. And we move above where we have other stories. House to investigate 7 trillion naira interventions in power sector since privatization. Governors Hayes signing of Electricity Act 2023 into law. We integrate renewable energy into power architecture, says ECN boss, that is Energy Commission of Nigeria boss, who was newly appointed by President Bola Tinubu. Obaseki, Nigeria will be in deeper trouble if we don't cut waste. Obaseki, governor of Edo State, Nigeria will be in deeper trouble if we don't cut waste. So it continues on page 6. Tinubu will present 2024 appropriation bill to National Assembly in November. Senate reviews. Lawmakers to engage finance budget ministers Wednesday. Say deliberations on MTEF FSP to commence next week. That's all we can take on this day. Leading stories. For more, log on to the website of This Day, www.thisdaylive.com. And of course, Daily Sun has similar headline on his story on his paper today, but cast in a different way, and it says "Decision Day." Apostrophe. Decision Day. Suspense as Supreme Court rules on Atiku Obi's petitions against Tinubu. Decision Day. Suspense as Supreme Court rules on Atiku Obi's petitions against Tinubu. Second headline story says inflation, devaluation drive Nigerians' money supply up to 66.4 trillion naira, according to CBN. Inflation, devaluation drive Nigeria's money supply up to 66.4 trillion naira, according to CBN. Foreign borrowing not enough to solve Nigeria's infrastructure deficits, VP, that is Vice President Kashim Shettima. Foreign borrowing not enough to solve Nigeria's infrastructure deficit. Federal government pays envoys ahead of recall. And just by the side, we have Senate considers bill seeking to bar CBN governor deputies from politics. Tribunal opposed election of Tambuwa as senator for Sokoto South. Senate swears in Yohana to replace Abo for Adamawa North. Expect improved beavers, IREP performances, INEC assures Nigerians. Tinubu to present 2024 budget November. Reps received Naiti 2021 report to probe 8 trillion naira unremitted oil revenue. Israel insists on resignation of UN Secretary General over comments on Gaza attacks. Court dismisses suit by ExxonMobil against NMDPRA. The story continues on page 26 of the daily paper. And of course, the last headline story on Daily Sun today, October 26, 2023, says Ethiopian Airlines opens up on Nigeria Air D. Says no plans to key domestic operators. Story continues on page 25 of Daily Sun. For more on that, inside stories and the editorial, you log on to the website. The next paper on our menu, still with similar headline, is Vanguard. Vanguard says presidential tussle. 7 Supreme Court justices who decide Tinubu Atiku Obi's fate today. 2 of 3 petitions that got to Supreme Court up for adjudication today. We have a good case at the Apex Court, Labour Party. And we have just beside that, IPs, federal government to stop salaries of unverified workers tomorrow. We move above the masthead. Senate to amend CBN Act, bars governor from partisan politics. Tinubu appoints 9 INEC recs. Brain drain, federal government to increase enrollment of doctors, nurses next year. Domestic capital market, not foreign borrowing, can fix infrastructure gap in Nigeria. Domestic capital market, not foreign borrowing, can fix infrastructure gap in Nigeria, according to VP Shettima. And of course, just before we leave Vanguard, we have to take the one on sport. It says Nigerian sets African record for most NBA players in a single season. Nigeria sets African record for most NBA players in a single season. That is kudos to Nigerian sports. From Vanguard, we move to The Punch. The Punch has different story as its headline story, main headline story today, October 26, 2023. Diesel jet fuel rising prices threaten industries, airlines. Diesel jet fuel rising prices threaten industries, airlines. Riders say diesel aviation fuel sell for 1,000 naira. Factories short in Kano, Ogun, Anambra orders. Telecoms operators use 40 million liters of diesel monthly. Man warns against hike. That is Manufacturers Association of Nigeria warns against hike. And just beneath that leading story, we have picture of a Ogun State governor convoy in a flooded road, on a flooded road. Federal government delegate visits flooded Ogun communities, promises succor. Federal government delegate visits flooded Ogun communities, promises succor. Senate to ban local forest transactions, proposes JTM. Mohbad hid for 6 months over fear of attack, according to parents. National Assembly to probe lawyers, others behind $11 billion P&ID scandal. And above that, we have Supreme Court decides Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, poll battle today. President to present 2024 budget November, says Senate. 5.5 trillion naira payroll. Federal government stops workers' salaries, not on IPs. With that, we've come to the end of the Punch review this morning. For more stories on the Punch, inside stories, editorial, and back page, log on to the website of the Punch, www.punchng.com. And from Punch, we move to the last paper on our menu today, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian says, ex-governors turned ministers. CSOs demand state pension law review over 2.4 billion naira yearly pay. Ex-governors turned ministers. CSOs demand state pension law review over 2.4 billion naira yearly pay. The story is on page 6 of The Guardian. Of course, it's an exclusive. Senate alters CBN Act to bar governor deputies from politics. Compare NNPCL to remit $34.2 billion to Federation account. Falana tells Finance Minister. Supreme Court delivers judgment today in Atiku Obi's appeal against Tinubu. 3 on murder trial over witchcraft allegations, killing of 5. President approves 18 billion naira assurance policy for families of fallen heroes. Court dismisses suit by Zomobi against NMDPRA. Beware politicians, Wike warns religious leaders. And of course, that's the last headline story on The Guardian today. For more on that, inside pages, the editorial and back page, log on to the website of The Guardian, www.guardian.ng. Well, viewers, with this, we've come to the end of the first segment of Inside Nigeria breakfast show on Leadership Television. And for the second segment, we already have our Thursday guest in the house. He's a political economist, also public affairs analyst at Defolari Olamilokon. Don't go away, just stay tuned. I want us to discuss that.
Be part of our brand. Leadership for God, country. Be brand. Leadership for God. Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country.
Yes, you're welcome back. In case you're just joining in, the program is Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Webo, your host on the program. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a Thursday guest in the house, although he has been unavoidably absent for 2 weeks now. But he's back now and he's going to share more light on some of the trending stories on some select newspapers. His name is Olamilekan Adefolaro, a political economist and also a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much. It's been a long while.
Exactly. We just have to take some break so that we can have a better fresh air when we come on air like this. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome once again. A lot has been happening since 2 days now, talking about the verdict or the judgment on the P and the ID contracts. We like call it scam now that occurred, and of course Nigeria has been in a celebratory mood following the judgment given by a London court. So how would you assess this and the role that Nigerians also played in that scam, contract scam?
Exactly. Most people are happy. I think this was the reaction of people when the other judgment was being that the federal government have to pay those companies that amount of money, and it was like, where are we going to get such money from? And the people involved in that particular issues were like, government should pay. After all, it was a contract signed, and many Nigerians were like, contract signed that was not seen, no visibility of what was signed. But not until recently the federal government started taking up that particular project, and they are doing the AKK pipe gas pipeline. They are laying all the way from the southern part of the country to the northern part of the country. And that one was to start from Akwa Ibom, connect to the one in Warri Dem, up to north. That was the essence of the contract. But what was signed was just an empty contract that government made away with some money, and the company took the government to court and was requesting that they should pay them for time wastages and all the resources that have been invested in Nigeria. They could not get the contract and all those stuff. And right now, the court have turned the case the other way around. So federal government is not going to pay anybody any money.
Okay, federal government also won in that
exactly one. They won in this particular, because the issue was that the government is going to pay them certain money for losing out, for not giving them the contract.
Okay, are you talking about this P and the ID?
Yeah, the PID.
Oh yes, and that's why I'm just particular about it, that what comes into play when these because I got to even read Segun Adeniyi's report on this day today, and of course it was of the opinion that many of these civil servants, top civil servants, they signed these laws without bringing into it maybe the senior officials or even politicians.
Exactly.
What really comes into play that a staff of the ministry can actually sign up such gargantuan
amount of
contract without
exactly. The issue, it goes to the politics that we play in the procurement processes. And the power that played that.
And BPP was not even.
They were not involved. The company was not even registered on their data. That's another clear case of scam has been pointed out. But the good news is that we are not going to pay them what the court initially asked us to pay.
The arbitration
asked us to pay. That runs billions of dollars.
Yes.
Now, what is going to happen is that government have to look inward and see how to strengthen the way we procure or the way we carry out our procurement processes. Because if it's going to be like politics as usual, because a political party in power can instigate all these things around the bureaucratic nature of government office, and they will get it done. Just like what we did with Ajakuta steel, whereby we did and we sell it at a very small price, and then they took us to court. And it was not recently that the government started going back to court here and there, and the judgment debt was reduced. And they still pay the people that they took them to court. But in this case, we are not paying anybody. That was we are not paying anybody because there was no contract given to them.
You know why I'm so particular about this? That I also read that we also have issue ongoing at the arbitration court following this Mambila power project.
Exactly, because it has been given to the real contractor that is working it as we speak right now. The Chinese company that is doing their work. I think they have installed about 4 turbines, and they're supposed to install about 7 of them. Even the one in Zungeru also have issues, but government have been able to subside that. So what we are trying to point out is that so that we will not look as if we are flooding the issue, it remains that the government must take proactive
Yes.
decision
Sure.
on contract procurement in Nigeria. Even though civil servants will be involved, that politicizing aspect of it should be removed. All due process documents should be put in place. Imagine a company that doesn't have a database,
Yes.
or his data is not included in procurement bureau of BP, bureau of public procurement in Abuja. You don't know them. They don't have any access to them. And even the CAC also doesn't have access to them. It's only that they use the scamming knowledge, whereby they get some lawyers, they get some business icon, and they get some political wing to be part of it. And that's what really helped in them getting the contract in the first instance. But it wasn't signed by the federal government. And that's why federal government have that authority to say, we didn't sign this thing with you.
And they had the audacity to say, no, you must pay us
For
this
the
is the money. And it
caused.
also brings into focus the other court, the arbitration judge, that even gave them that judgment.
It wasn't
because
exactly.
you would have taken into the fact that these are people that, okay, they said the money, the profits they would have made over the years, but the judge did not take into account the risk involved. Because it's not in our case that somebody said, oh, I would have made so and so amount for the past 20 years, where if not for
the delay in the execution of it.
But you'd have taken part that, okay, there were some risks that could have made would have been made.
The issue still remains that the court was outside Nigerian jurisdiction.
Yes,
it
I
happens
know.
across
We know.
abroad. But the issue also remains that most of the documents presented to that court were forged. That's the other side that most of us did. It was forged because the federal government said, okay, when was the National Executive Council signed this
this
contract?
kind of contract?
Then they claimed the NNPC signed it. The Minister of Petroleum Resources was involved. Then the federal government said, this is a gigantic project that is linked to National Development Plan. So how can we want to have a KKK gas plant, fixed across the country, and a segment of the government institution will just sign? Then the entire body will not be involved. And that's where federal government fought it and said, no, we didn't have anything to do with this. If you sign any agreement with any individual group, go and settle the matter. And we discovered that those individual groups have interest in the judgment debt money, because if they have been paid, it would have become something they would have benefited.
Exactly. $11 billion at the time that we are having the economic
crunch and the recession issues around. And I really want to commend the government of President Buhari, because he never gave in to that. And the current government
from reports, the former president Goodluck Ebele Jonathan actually signed withdraw settlement of 840 million
out of court
dollars. But Buhari said, no,
he's not going to give, because although we normally criticize the former AGF,
there's a boost to them.
It's a boost to them. Although on the other side they also fell, because there was other the judgment debt that we paid for. I think when they were having more than 500 billion judgment debt to settle, and currently the government doesn't even have the money to do it. Also, if you look deep into those judgment debts,
they had gone President Buhari saying that there are so many
judgment debts. So if you look into those one critically, you can also find for that some of those judgment debts we don't supposed to pay anybody anytime. But as it stands right now, it's a good luck to us, and it's a good news that we are not paying any 11 billion to anybody.
Now, going forward, what should be done? Because we cannot have so many of these funny companies or scam companies coming to scam us at the time that even in a good day, in any good day. What is the way forward?
And the way forward,
how can we preempt this?
Exactly. The way forward is first our corporate governance structure in the government institution. How strengthened are they? How impactful when it comes to monitoring what they are doing, when it comes to procurement, contract signing, and the rest of them. That is the first angle we need to tackle. When we are signing an agreement with anybody, either it is written in English or in Chinese or in any language, we must have a grasp of what is written there. Then again, we should not be signing contracts as if we are rushing to the moon, because that what it means is that because of that, one thing that brought this particular issue on us was that everybody was rushing to quickly have that AKK gas pipeline executed, and each government was like, it is my project, let me get it executed. I discovered that at the end of the day we run into scam. But we just hope that government will learn that whenever there is anything to sign, due process should be followed. All legal aspect of it should be
we have
checked
the Attorney
and
General of the
cross-checked.
Federation. That one too should be
to
definitely check legal.
I think for me, what government should do that to set up license office, Attorney General license office in all government agencies, whereby any signing of any contract, even with local businessmen, the license officer should look at it critically and see which one is in line with our constitution, which one government can afford, and which government cannot afford. And those lines of argument in terms of the condition of those contracts should be critically looked at, because we cannot afford to be signing condition of contract that we know that at the end of the day is going to boomerang on us. Like this particular one, I wish the government have not taken due diligence about. They would have just squandered our money and pay people, and those guys will come back into the economy and begin to be claiming to be rich. From where? From scamming the nation.
Yes, according to Shegun, they say that is why we have so many idle billionaires today, because that's what they engage in.
And this is not for federal government alone, including state governors are also into all this scamming issue. You see state governors organizing economic investment summit here and there. It's another means of scamming the state. That's the process that all these so-called Shylock investors will come in and begin to show all manner of documents, all manner of things. Before you know, the state governors will now put money into it. A good one is when it comes to issue of housing estate. I think the state governors are now waking up. You see, developers will come and say, "We develop this housing estate. The government should bring their counterpart funding, and once they will bring their counterpart funding, and they will never bring." There's one particular one I monitor seriously in Nassau State. It is a 7 billion housing project in Karo local government, and the investor is to bring 5 billion. The state government is to bring 2 billion, and the investor was shouting, "Bring the 5 billion," and he said, "Go and invest." For the past 4 years, what they have built in that land is no more than 10 housing estates, 10 block of house, and they want governors to release their own 2 billion. Meanwhile, that means they don't have any money to invest in that business.
They just want to use it.
Exactly. They will just calm the government, and then they will run away. And state governors should watch out. Local government inclusive, not just federal government that have been scammed at this point.
And it's like these federal and the state government, they are just bamboos.
Exactly. Bamboos and pushed around by these foreign investors.
So they are carried away.
They carried away because they think that they are bringing dollar into their state. And again, you know that some of those opportunities also is a means of money laundering for the state governors, for the politicians. It has been clearly shown. In instance is Kogi State. Kogi State governors have organized more than 5 investment summits. We have not seen any factory created or established by the state government. All we are seeing investment summit. Gombe State is about to organize what they call 2.0 investment summit. They are bringing all manner of people. At the end of the day, if the investment summit did not translate into development for the state government, it's banza, I've normally seen Hausa, or literally mean nothing. So they must be careful how they bring people into investment program and be able to marshal their plan going forward.
Thank you so much. But at the end of the day, at least a good one to Nigeria.
Exactly.
It called for great celebration because $11 billion.
It's a great money that it will turn Nigeria around if we have such money in our kids.
So another issue that we are touching, throwing light on, is the headline story on The Guardian. As governors turned ministers, civil society organizations demand state pension law review over 2.4 billion naira yearly pay. But I would have thought that this is a moral issue. If, as former governor, you are not a minister or a senator, you should give up those.
I think they should do the Benga Daniel way.
Okay.
Benga Daniel way resigned. He wrote a letter and said they should stop paying since it became. I think that what we should just encourage other their excellencies to also follow through, because what it means is that the state are paying too hard way to maintain the status quo of their efficiency in terms of how they live, how they maintain them, in terms of what they eat, what to do, including their medical payment and the rest of them. So I'll just hope that they will.
But since Wenger Daniel did that, one expected others to follow suit, but that has not been the case. Why is it that? And they pretend that it doesn't apply to them.
It's because maybe they have not seen it, they have not heard it, their aides have not drawn their attention to what Wenger Daniel did. And again, some of them will claim with the level of inflation and economic hardship, they need to maintain their status quo. What they are collecting, some of them will claim that what they are collecting is peanuts.
Even our president too.
Definitely, he's also collecting from Lagos. Although the Lagos state government reviewed their own, they reviewed their own in a way that all those other
upwards or
downwards. They review in a downward way. But I don't know whether this current governor is going to do the other way, because when Fashola was there, he reviewed it downward and they reduced it, and that's why Ambode didn't get much when he left. But I don't know whether this current governor is going to review upward, because they did what they bring it down so that they can, because it was also noise and shout from the CSO that also draw their attention. I said, okay, let us draw this thing down. But other states, are they learning?
But many people are of the opinion that we have civil servants that have spent over their years in the civil service. At the end of the day, they go with peanuts. How much more a governor that comes in 4 years, spends 4 years, and by that 4 years, you know that most of our governors, I'm not saying it's all anyway, but majority of them anyway, enrich themselves at the expense of the state in that 4 years or even 8 years. He or she stays there, and at the end of the day, the state is still made to support him throughout life.
Although some
Many
of
are
them
not
will claim
comfortable.
that when they go back to the society or their community, that their people fall on them. They are the one paying some school fees, doing this. They also raise a foundation that will be doing foundation, doing some social welfare packages for their people. That's what some of them claim. But what we are saying is that even though you are doing that, you can still use your leeway of someone that have been in public service to attract. Like in the US, all former US presidents don't collect pension, but they
Okay.
use the leeway that they have been in public office to develop something around themselves. Like Obama have been said to be going for public speaking, and when he
Yes,
go
they do
public,
for
he charge you
politicians.
at
Yes.
least $100. Even
It's more
appearing,
100 or
no,
100.
at least $100.
Okay.
At least for someone that
Yes,
wants to
okay, for
even to
individual.
snap autograph with him. And he will tell you that those money are donated to his charity program. So the state governors can also emulate that and do that. But here in Nigeria, they will always have excuses, and I will not blame.
Perhaps that will reduce the attraction, the fight to finish.
Exactly. When
For
it
the
comes to
position, when
contesting
it
for
comes to
governors, when you know that there's
what
no
can be
pension.
done exactly?
The thing is that to demonetize our political process, but it's very difficult to demonetize our political process because the follower and the leaders are also having issues. Somebody can go and say, I want to campaign, I want to become councillor, and they will ask you, what did you bring for us? But if you tell them you didn't bring anything, next time you go to that place, they will not, nobody will come.
Nobody will go.
But the moment they know that you are coming to share t-shirts, you are going to share rice and the rest, they will come. But demonetizing it is the only solutions to the problem. And again, we have pegged amount of money somebody can spend when you go into political position, but it's not also helping them.
They are not,
Because there's no punishment after somebody violate that law.
Yes.
How is there's punishment for those who violate that law?
and
So
they actually monitor it to follow it to the letter to ensure that yes, these politicians don't break the rule.
INEC do that. They even bring out the figures of how much some people are spending when it comes to election. But the issue is that can they go after? Because once that person won election and sworn in, he become an emperor. The law doesn't touch him again. Even in National Assembly, it happens the same way. But they keep message how we can demonetize our process, and also we can also introduce independent candidacy. It will help. If we have a popular independent candidacy, it will flog any political parties that is
doesn't
there.
need to be
Exactly.
any
And also we also suggested in the past that we can also make our political parties in a way that they can become smaller in nature, in a sense that we don't need to have bigger political parties across. Then when they say they must have national outlook. If we make it zonal outlook or local outlook, it also help us so that this championing of political parties at national level and the pressure on them will reduce. It's an Indian experiment. They don't normally have political parties. The national one don't come to the local level to come and contest. They allow the local parties to contest for all those areas, and they leave the bigger position for the bigger political parties to contest, because development must start from the bottom, and which is the local area.
Talking about independent parties too, that is when many people there's been a clarion call for the electoral act, the amendment of the electoral act. As you can see today, the Supreme Court is reading out its judgment in the presidential suit fight, and many people have the opinion that it doesn't really augur well that the judiciary will not have that boldness, even if it comes to that, to actually overturn a president that has already been sworn in office. So perhaps electoral act needs thinking. Do you think?
Exactly, not just the electoral, including our constitution, because what the Supreme Court will be doing today is constitution. Anything they have gone through at the presidential election panel have now come to constitutional relevance of what they have said. It is all about constitution. So when we are reviewing our electoral act, we also look at which other part of the constitution can we also review, think around, and make it more effective, because that is the issue. But if we don't, we will just work on the electoral act, and the case goes to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, what the constitution says? So we must work with both electoral act and the constitution. The another aspect is this: the political parties themselves and the politicians themselves, are they even ready to ensure that we have a very efficient constitution in Nigeria? Because as it stands today, the election constitution is to the interest of individual. If you are there today, the constitution will favor you. If you are not there today, the constitution will not favor you.
Exactly, because you are so right. You are spot on. Because we saw a situation whereby when the constitution was being reviewed, and President Buhari then former President Buhari said, no, that is not for state police, and that was
it.
And
it ends.
And I was wondering, is it all about the president, what he wants or what he does not want? What about the majority of Nigerians? I don't thought that is the beauty of democracy. But he just sent a letter down that he doesn't. And you see that the National Assembly did not go there
that way.
They
exactly. The same thing. Do you know that even
the president said he doesn't support state police?
Exactly. Even the Court of Appeal that is sacking National Assembly members because the National Assembly election ended at Court of Appeal.
Yes,
so people are now saying that let us also allow Supreme Court to be handling National Assembly member. And people are like, say, no, is it because it didn't favor you? It is all about the interest of the people. Now, it didn't favor the former president to allow state police. But so some people, they see it as opportunity that it must be there. So when we weigh both sides, what is the efficiency of state police in the space of Nigerian society? Then we look at the benefit, the long-term benefit, the sustainable benefit of it. And that's what I think. When it is sustainable, when the long-term benefit is sustainable, then I can go for it. But when it becomes something cosmetic, something ad hoc, that it is just immediate gains, then we may not go for it. And that's what some people are thinking about state police. That the moment a state governor is there and they have a state police, he can use it against. But what about the sustainability of an institutionalized police that will go long to sustain and help the society to be more secure?
Exactly. That, perhaps the National Assembly is hearing this, and there is high time they throw more light on that. Now, just before we go, the Punch is leading with a diesel jet fuel rising price threatens industries, airlines. Recently we saw that airfares have skyrocketed. For instance, a friend sent to me an air ticket is just 410,000 to Owerri, Abuja to Owerri and back, and that's just what is being played. And did we get into this logjam, and how do we get out of it?
I think number one problem in the aviation industry, especially local airlines that are applying the local area, is that they are limited now. We don't have much of the airplane flying. That is number one. So the ones that are available now are enjoying the monopoly or the patronization of all Nigerians. And again, we also know that there's this incidence of non-maintenance of those airlines that cause fear in a lot of air passengers. They now have a choice of which airline to fly because of the mischievous activities of some airlines, because of lack of maintenance, and the rest of them that have happened over the years. So few of the airlines that maintain that status whereby they maintain their airline and they are regular. That is where people are rushing to. Those ones that are having issue with their airplane and the rest of them, people are scared to go and enter there. So that's why those ones that are not enjoying high price now, we can give it to that. But the problem about fuel is that at the international market, crude oil is $82 per barrel now. So everybody is looking at the price of crude oil to reflect the price of diesel in the country. And that's why we're having diesel at 1,000 naira. A Jet 1, Air 42 at that high price because of that international oil price changes. Then the local market for the oil, as we speak right now, we are not refining on any of them. We are importing. So as long as we are importing, it is better.
National Assembly said they were going to intervene to prove that about 11 trillion naira has been sunk into turnaround maintenance of our refineries since about 8 years.
Exactly.
8 or 11 years now, and they were going to prove that. Do you think anything will come out of it at the end of the day? And don't forget that is on the backdrop of a story 2 weeks ago or thereabout that even the December date target for
refinery to come off swing.
Yes, is being threatened because some of the parts are mismatched. What is actually happening?
For me, I'll just hold on to that December deadline because I think I don't want to see another date because the president has been very exactly has been very serious about the turnaround maintenance of the refinery and the coming on swing of the refinery. That one in Port Harcourt. Although after that one, the worry one will start. So the president has been very serious. And he has put the NNPC GMD on his toe. That's why they are working here and there. But on the other side of a National Assembly probing, it is normal drama. They are just looking for attraction, attention, and also to draw the ears of the head of those agencies to themselves and say, this is what we are bringing on board. This is what we have against you. So what are you? It is the normal buying and selling argument around turnaround maintenance. Today, the CBN governor is going there to also talk about why Naira is falling. The National Assembly member don't know why Naira is falling. Do they want to tell us that they don't know that when we are not productive in the country, we import? Have they ever invited all the important businessmen who are into importation to National Assembly and say, tell us why we cannot produce what we are importing? Instead of calling the CBN governor to come and tell us why Naira is falling.
And now, federal government lifted restriction on 43 items.
Exactly.
What's your take on that?
I was not around. My take is that it's a no thing. We don't need such. It's a policy reversal. Although many people are justifying it that it is for food, to crash price of food. That's what the argument of the rice will crash. I say, which rice will crash? It's like people don't even understand the technicality of economy in Nigeria. When price goes up, it doesn't come down. It stays there. Even if it's going to come down, it won't come down. I've never seen any price coming down. Sugar is now 52,000 naira for a bag. You get it? Now you are expecting the price of sugar to come down by allowing people to import sugar.
At this critical time that the dollar is about 1,300.
300. Although the government is coming up with a policy called the automation of the forex market in Nigeria. I think my organization will be releasing a press statement around that policy.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means that if you want to get dollar now, it's going to be automated. But I don't know the way they want to do it, because what I suggested in a sister station this morning was that if government is very serious about this automation is that nobody will be taking physical dollar if it's truly automation they want to follow. Because if you say automation, that means everything will be done by transaction. If you are going to Dubai to go and buy anything, just the CBN will transfer your dollar that you want to your account. When you get there, go and spend it as you want, not to give you cash. But the other way around is that if automation is going to be that we're still going to be giving people cash in dollar, that means we are just turning things upside down. We won't get the best that we want to get. Although the government also talk about overdue payment of people that are owing dollar across the world, because CBN sells securities. And I've said it this morning that one of the advice I'll give to the President Tinubu, let the last security that CBN sold, which is about $10 billion, be the last his administration will sell or allow CBN to sell. Because if they don't do that, by next day they sell under, it will increase our debt profile. So if they don't take note of that, it will kill the economy, and we continue to shout about naira depreciating and dollar just killing our naira as they are pointing out.
So there is hope that in December, from what you said, that December day is really sacrosanct for the turnaround maintenance of our Port Harcourt refinery.
It has to, because the government cannot afford uprising in January 2024 because labor is well prepared, especially for this particular condition. That is the only condition labor is holding. The CNG buses, the minimum wage review. They know that even minimum wage review, some state governors will not pay. So, but that NNPC refinery coming on stream produce even just 50,000 liters of fuel, we can see it will cushion the effect. And again, we have
see some prices.
The market forces they are talking about will not crash it. Although it is only NNPC that will be taking PMS from that place. We must tell ourselves it's only NNPC that will be taken from there. What it means is that NNPC will crash its price from 613 to like 613. No, NNPC is 613.
Okay, it's 613. Maybe
613. NIPCO is 625. Others are 630. So with that, maybe you can crash your price because what NNPC is doing
or something or 500.
Or 500. At least let's start with 550 because there's no more depot landing price and there's no other fees charges that will be placed on it. And I'll just hope that the only thing they will have is transportation.
And also December, like I was sharing with somebody that we also see there will not be too much demand because we have situation whereby Nigeria has so many Nigerians in diaspora. If they are not coming down, they may also be sending in forex.
Yeah, that is the hype. That is
so
the hype.
December too, we see
will be a stabilization of remittance coming in.
Yes.
The remittance cannot match up with the supply gap that we have created for ourselves.
It should be, at least it will provide little temporary relief. That is,
if our brothers and sisters who are collecting that dollar here will not hide it and hope to sell it in January.
A nice price. It's always a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you.
Adefolari Olamilekon. Thank you so much for your time, your presence. I look forward to having you same time, same station on the program. Obviously, you've had it all. That's a train light on some trendy stories on today's Select National Dailies. My name is Winifred Ubebo. I'm part with in the studio, Olamilekon Adefolari. Until we come your way again, same time, same station. Here's wishing you a beautiful day. See you then. Bye.
Watching for
Thank you
and advert please contact 080 688 61 Network Leadership Studio. You have word.